So I am Maryfrances Porter. I'll tell you kind of quickly sort of where I came from and sort of why I'm here, and then I'm happy to answer questions. So I am a clinical psychologist and a community psychologist, and I am in Charlottesville, Virginia, which is a fairly small town, a couple hours south of DC. And when I came out of grad school, a lot of my colleagues were moving to DC and working for Urban and DOJ and RAND and things like that. I started working for the local government and then for the university. And I realized that if I really wanted to do the kind of work that I was most interested in, then I was going to have to work for myself. So I have had two businesses. I've worked as a psychotherapist for 2 days a week. And then I say like the other 8 days a week, I work as a program evaluator. And that was working pretty well for me. I had no real business model other than how much I knew I needed to build, no marketing, no anything. But then after a while, I started to feel kind of stuck because there was only so many hours in the day that I could bill. And so I could raise my rates or bill by the project or whatever, but I couldn't figure out how I could shift from doing work hourly to actually being able to like do the work that I love, but be able to continue to grow as a person and be able to continue to grow as a business. And I don't consider myself very entrepreneurial. I'm not like a business-minded person. I'm a nonprofit, community-minded person. And so I ended up over the pandemic, not because of the pandemic, but just coincidentally, a young woman who I've known for a long time was like, I'd really like to go into business with you and help you build this. And I was like, great, because you're really entrepreneurial minded and I'm not. And we started to try to articulate what that business would look like and how we could create something that didn't depend on us to be running it, because ideally you want a business to be able to kind of run itself. You want to be able to create something that is generating goodness and profit. And so we started to develop that. And then she had to step away for some personal reasons, which were very reasonable. And so we spent about a year dreaming. And then I spent about a year kind of just struggling and not figuring out, not knowing what I needed. Did I need another business partner? Did I need to do something entirely different? Did I, need an MBA? Like, what did I need? And I took a cue from our listserv and I hired Tracy Snoyer to help me start thinking through my business. And I have since then effectively, I feel like, given myself an MBA and a marketing degree. So I've read a bunch of books and talked to a number of people, another number of business people, and I have discovered what it is that I need to do to build my business, which isn't to just expand what I do, but is to actually envision a structure 10 years from now and then build that structure like you would a Lego set or something. And so that's what I'm in the process of doing now. I have my product, I have the work that my colleague Allison and I had kind of structured and decided that we wanted to do. And now I'm in the process of literally starting to build it. And so I've got a marketing strategy, which is very lean because I hate social media and marketing, but I've got a strategy that I know is there. I have my product, I have my website, I'm writing a book that will help me articulate my model even more and also give me some legitimacy and something to help introduce me to people. And I've got a business model. So I know where I'm going to be going. I know where I want to be in 10 years, at least today. It'll probably change, but at least today I know where it is I want to be. And so I'm now working on that. And I've discovered that this is called working on your business as opposed to in your business. And I've had to figure out what it is that makes me interested in working on my business rather than in my business, because I'm in my business because I like working in my business. I like the work that I do. I feel really passionate about it. But I have discovered ways that I feel pretty passionate now about building the business and creating hopefully a legacy for myself and my family and whoever it is that takes over the business when I stop running it, which is a plan at some point. That's implicit in my business building plan. So that is where I am, and I'm happy to answer any kinds of questions about what my path has been or how it is that I feel like, how it is I'm structuring it or what I've been reading or any of those kinds of things. Anyone have anything that they're curious about?
You mentioned something you were reading just a bit ago. Can you share that with
Yeah.
us?
Yeah. So there are a few books that I found to be particularly grounding and helpful in thinking about business. Um, One of them is Get Clients Now, which is just sort of basic marketing and marketing structure. And so while I don't do that structure anymore, that was a really helpful way for me to introduce myself to it. Another one is How Clients Buy, which is just, I think, a really interesting way of thinking about what it is that you're actually trying to do in reaching your clients. I've really loved the E-Myth, which is a little outdated and I think kind of sexist, but the way in which the book is written and like the business strategy behind it, I think is really sound. And it basically is saying that you want to build something that's repeatable. You want something that can run without you there, that you could give to somebody else and they could run it. So they talk about it being like a franchise, even though you don't have to franchise. But like if you were going to create a business that somebody else could take over, what would that be? And that really is including operationalizing your approach and your values and all those kinds of things. So that was really helpful. I read Personal MBA because I know nothing about business or business language or what people are talking about. And I feel like if I'm going to be talking to business minded people, I need to know what these words mean. And that was really helpful. It helped me sort of just think about what we traditionally think business is. And then I read Made to Stick, which is a really nice book on marketing that actually refers back to the E-Myth, and the Personal MBA too, I believe. And so once I've had all those things in mind, I feel like I understand sort of like what clients are besides people who've heard about me and like me and hire me to do stuff, and what the process of sales actually is, which is, building relationships, but how does that work sort of long term? I have information about like what business, and Traction. So Traction is a really nice book, which also refers back to the E-Myth, and it's about the steps you need in a business to actually move yourself to action, which a lot of it we already know through what we learned through strategic planning and making things happen, but it's kind of nice. He's got all these like structures and forms and stuff like that. So there's the client piece, there's the what are business models and terms and how does that work and how do you work on your business rather than in your business. And then there is sort of like literally what are marketing messages that you want to put out there. And then there is how do you actually, what are the tools you need to actually move your business forward each day so that you're setting goals and reaching them and then evolving them. And so that's my current library of business books that I recommend.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Anything else I can answer for folks? It's really been a shift. I have to say that I think I might have mentioned it just a little bit earlier. It's kind of the 15 minutes as are running together, but I am not an entrepreneur by nature. Like I'm not a business person by nature. It's not why I got into this work. I have not found it particularly palatable. And so I've had to work to figure out what things it is that I really value and how it is that I can feel driven and good about the work that I'm doing that is focused on making money and building legacy, but also really based in values and mission driven work that's going to improve the community. So that's really been like a mind shift for me and something that I found really difficult. I would really much rather work for someone else where I can do all my work for free and somebody else is worried about whether or not the business is expanding. But I can't seem to do that if I also want to live in the rural part of Charlottesville. So that's where I'm finding myself.
That's a beautiful area of the country, though. My
Oh
husband
my
is from
gosh.
Virginia,
Yeah,
so yeah.
it's like a gift. Oh my God. I absolutely
Mhm.
adore it. Yeah.
Mhm.
No.
Cool.
I love that some of my biggest problems are like how to keep the animals from eating all my plants. Like that's fabulous. I love that. Where's the best spot to put my garden? I love that. How do I handle tree branches that have fallen on the path in the woods? I love it. But it means that I also have to embrace some other things in order to be sustainable as an individual, and keep my family safe by having a thriving business.
Cool. Do you have red soil where you live?
No, we do have some compacted soil, but it is so we have some clay and stuff like that.
Okay.
But in general, it's pretty good soil. We live on
Mhm.
top of a little hill though, so we've got a lot of
Mhm.
runoff. It's a little hard to actually keep the water up on top of the hill where it can
Mhm.
feed the tomatoes. Anyone else?
I keep expecting the otter pilot thing to chime in, and then I keep
Yeah,
reminding myself that it's not a real person,
it's not
right?
a real. Yeah, there's Anne who's probably taking a break, and then there's you. So you can ask all the questions you want.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, am I the only real
Yeah, I
attend?
think so.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay.
here.
Sure. Well, what do you think are the ups and downs to working, really independently or alone versus, working in a like partnership model or a team or something like that?
Well, so I don't have really a team yet. My team right now is my husband and my virtual assistant. So I'm building a team.
Okay.
Um, but I actually so far prefer the team, because
Hmm.
while I love all the work that I do, like it's hard to figure out what to let go of, like because I've just done it all by myself all this time. It's actually
Hmm.
much less lonely to have thought partners and
Hmm.
people just to even talk about some of the mundane things with. So like right now, my VA is helping me figure out what kind of podcasts I can be on as part of sort of my marketing strategy, like being able to go out and talk to folks. And
We have about 1 minute
it's
left.
fun to talk to her about the business
Hmm.
and what these podcasts are doing and things like that. And up until then, it's just been like me, myself, and I, and thinking in my own head. And so it's really a relief. I'm hoping that as the business grows, that I don't get overwhelmed by the sort of HR and the people
Hmm.
management. I'm hoping that those structures that I've put in place are going to make it so that it's still really invigorating and enjoyable as opposed to tedious and stressful. So
Cool. Thank you.
you're welcome.